Hey guys, it's Ben the Coin Geek with the worst open box showing of all time coming your way right now. That's an exaggeration, of course, but we're going to look at an open box of coins we got back from NGC. Now, most of these are actually for customers, and before we send stuff in, we go over with them. We talk about a little bit about what we see and what the opportunities are, if there's upside or not, or if there's downside. And oftentimes, the collectors do what they want. At the end of the day, it is their call. I will say, of course, as always, when we do put a new video out that's an open box video and we look at stuff, if there are coins that are available from the video, they will be on our website at the time the video launches. So you can always check the website, but also there will be a link in the show details. Speaking of details, details on the 17S Type 1. Right, so this is an interesting coin because it is not the type of cleaning where you have hairlines. It's the type of cleaning where it looks like somebody probably tried to dip it one or two or three too many times. When things that would lead me to that conclusion are a little bit of the black and white surface, where when you tilt it at an angle, all of a sudden it goes dark instead of lustrous, so it goes from white to dark. And also when you see spots and you see lines that look like someone tried to remove the lines by dipping them. I think that's what you're seeing on this coin. It's not the type of coin where you have a visual cleaning where somebody took, something and erased or rubbed it. I think that's just a coin that's probably been over dipped. Next up, we have a 17, another Type 1. And let's take a closer look at this guy and see what we can see. Nice looking coin. Interestingly enough, and you guys can tell me what you think about this, but I think that's the type of coin that I would call a full head on that coin. Really a pretty nice looking coin, and what you're going to run into on this coin is the same thing we ran into the last coin, which is they're calling it Details obverse clean. Now here they say obverse, which is actually nice of them because you can actually say, well, at least they're telling you some information. I just want you to see the difference between these two coins on how you have the straight light finish here with what the coin should look like, and then as you tilt the coins, you see how the one on the left goes dark really early. And eventually you get no light, so both go dark, but my point is when the light goes at an angle, you can see really nice luster still on the one on the right, and the one on the left is darker. You see that? See the luster moving on the eagle's wings there on the right, and on the left it's kind of like wah, wah. Now what's interesting about this coin is, first of all, they didn't call it a full head, which I think is a miss. I think you've got to call this coin a full head. Secondly, they're calling it obverse clean, which is very specific, which means they see something on here that they think this. Usually when they call one side cleaned and not the other, you're looking for a very specific telltale cleaning sign, such as hairlines or something else that's going to just really pop up and tell you it was cleaned. And this one, I'm having a hard time really identifying, just looking at it. If we're playing the game of do you see what I see, I'm seeing a coin that has maybe a little muted luster. So, but it's weird because it's kind of hard to dip one side of the coin. But the weird thing is the reverse just is gorgeous. So there is something about the obverse where it has kind of a muted luster that it shouldn't. So there we go. We're 2 for 2. My customers are going to be unhappy with how that turned out. But it's really a crapshoot on a lot of this stuff as far as what they're going to say. Now here's a really nice looking 1915 10 Indian, and really very lustrous coin. You have some contact marks. You can see the big one under the U in United, a couple marks above the L in Pluribus, so you've got a few things going on there. The obverse though has got a great look to it. I mean, it just strong solid looking rims on that coin. The coin just kind of pops, and really quite lovely. A lot of little contact marks. I think they were a little bit rough on this, calling it a 62, because the face is lovely, but never fall in love with a pretty face, right? But that's a really nice coin that came back. I think a good grade. Now, in fairness, also, when I talk about how coins came back graded, this group, I had a collector who had some low-grade coins, and he wanted them graded regardless of how they came back. And he just kind of knew that they'd come back low grade and possibly problems. So what's interesting is, so for example, this 1862S quarter. So a lot of the San Francisco Mint quarters from the Civil War era are pretty scarce. A lot of them have mintages of like 70, 80, 90,000. But their survival rate was really low. I mean, they got spent. And what's interesting to me about these coins is the mint marks on them were huge. And then the dates were un poquito. I mean, look at that guy. Cute little date. Big fat S on there. AG details reverse cleaned. You know, nice even looking wear on the obverse of that coin. The reverse, you can see just the overall brightness. This definitely had a lot of cleaning going on. You know, that's kind of a no-brainer when you look at the difference. You know, this is what a well-circulated coin, you want it to kind of look like that and not like that. Let's see here, we've got, next up we have an 1861. Also from the San Francisco Mint. Kind of the same thing with the big S on it. You see a lot more detail to this guy here. VG details obverse scratched. And so, of course, when you see marks on the coin, these ones to the left aren't that bad. You can let them go, but this one up on the right, you know, that's the type of thing where it's deep, you know, and it should get a scratch on there as far as on the label goes. All right, 1827, 10-cent piece. Once again, a very low-grade piece. But you can see that that color palette is a lot more gray and even colored. And, you know, I don't know that I have good observations for anyone who's colorblind as far as how to tell on some of these coins. I know it's actually very difficult sometimes because you don't see what I see. A fair 2. So the nice thing on that one is he got a straight grade out of the coin, which is good because, you know, it was uncertain as to whether or not he get a straight grade. Now this one's interesting because actually this coin was in a old holder originally that did not have any type of variety attribution to it. And I'll show you what this coin is here in just a second. Let's look at the design elements on this coin. First of all, you know, how strong those rays were on these coins from that time period. You know, those big old claws. It's kind of a fun looking coin. I liked them better with the rays than without the rays. And this is the 1853. Now this is a variety though that's known as the 1853/54. And they got a XF on here, a nice straight grade on a tough coin, which is good. This is actually one of the many varieties that are out there, but this one is also in the Red Book. The picture in the Red Book's not great. So what you're going to look at on this is there's going to be some telltale signs, and it's actually 1853/854, so you actually have doubling on almost all of that stuff. There is some doubling inside of the 8. There's this big hook on the upper outside of the 5. There's a lot of little action inside the 3, and then there's actually on the arrow, there's this like extra knob up above it. So there's actually this right above here, there's a little knob, and then on the 3 there's a line going through the middle of the 3 there, and then a little point on the top for where the 4 was. Pretty cool variety. So he actually got this out of an old holder where someone had not identified the variety on it, and went ahead and got it attributed properly. So that's kind of cool. That was a fun coin. All right, so this is a doozy, and when I say doozy, I mean not a good kind of doozy. This coin here is really something that a customer was hoping to see a very high grade on, and it is a stunning looking coin. As far as the overall visual eye appeal goes, the toning is really lovely. MS64, and you know, this is a coin that you want to see a high grade on because it's an attractive coin without any real distracting problems, with a lovely tone to it. And you know, to come back just an average, I don't say average, 63 is average, but close to just average grade is, you know, a rough day at the office. And I've had lots of rough days at the office, but you know, I don't like it when it happens to a customer. You know, there's certain things that are just kind of, what would you say, kind of a close call, and you understand. But then there's coins like this where you're just like, well, that wasn't very nice of you. And that's all I got to say on that guy. So a lovely, lovely coin that really didn't come back how we wanted it to. All right, next up I have an 1877 Indian, rare date, and you can see it's worn down up there at the top. The sevens are good. You need those sevens need to be just a little bit cattywampus. That's an official numismatic term. And then usually on these, that top end, there's just a soft spot in the center of these coins. And you can see the top end is almost gone on the bottom half of it. And then the bottom end is missing a corner, and even on that E, you're missing a little bit. That's one of those things to look for on these to tell between the originals and the counterfeits. AG3, nice that they got a straight grade on this, because your concern on a coin like that is that it won't straight grade. You know, anytime you get a lower grade coin, you're always a little bit worried about what they're going to say, because sometimes they get a little bit picky. Speaking of getting a little bit picky, okay, so as an example, you know, there's not a set rule on a coin like this as to how and when you call out lines on a coin as being quote-unquote scratches. You know, there's a lot of little things going on in this coin, you know, but so you have little contact marks here up into the rim, you know, which you see stuff like that from time to time. And then you'll have these little marks up in here on either side. They called this reverse scratch. Now, I feel kind of bad on this one also for my customer, because, you know, honestly, on a coin like that, this one I would not have called scratch, just because, I don't know, it's a deep contact mark. It's there. You can see it, but it's not, to me, it's not too distracting. And it's not, it doesn't look as much of a scratch as it does some type of a hit. To me, a scratch usually is a longer, deeper mark. All right, so I got a couple more disappointments to show you, and then we can call it a day. Now, this is a really, really rare coin. So for those of you who don't know your 1864 2-cent pieces, they had two different types to it, okay? And so you've got what's called the large date and the small date. And so the small date, you know, you can't even see the we, in God we trust, but you can usually tell by looking at the GOD, because that's really where you're going to see the difference in variety. So on your regular coin, your large date coin, all of the interior of those coins of the of the O and the D are nice long oblong, and on these ones they're circular, and that is the real big giveaway. This isn't the same date, but what you'll see here is exactly how that O, the interior O and the interior D, how large they'll be. Okay, so this is a different date, but what I want to get at here is just looking at the shape of the, especially the interior shape of the D and the O, and just how long they are. And even the G is really big compared to the date on the small date variety. And of course this coin here, you know, different date, but you can see also the different size in the lettering is much smaller on this coin, and then that GOD is the big deal on there. All right, so of course we get VF details, rim filed, reverse damage. They ran out of room to describe this coin. So rim filed. So let's talk about that a little bit. Now the rim filing is something that you never want to see rim filing on the label. So right up here, there's a corner area that's just kind of flat. That's the rim filing. The reverse damage part. So I mean, you talk about the difference between that 2-cent and the 09S Indian we just looked at, and so this has really some pretty big lines all the way across. And so that is understandable on that coin. Either way, it's a very rare coin. And let's go from out of let's go from bad to worse. So I sent this coin in because I want NGC to tell me whether or not they think it's authentic, right? This is an 89cc, and it's got all kinds of problems going on. And when you see this outer holder, this is what they call a body bag, right? So they send it back in a body bag, and they said 89cc not encapsulated because of altered surface. Well, I've been down this road before, and I want to, I use both grading services, but it's hard for me on a coin like this because I want to be able to, I don't know, not pick one service over the other. So this coin has a few things going on that really made me question its authenticity. So I wanted to get it certified to find out if it's real or not. But when it comes back in a body bag, I don't understand that. Like, I would rather it come back. I don't care if it has all these monikers on it that says damaged, tooled, whatever. That's okay. It's a rare date coin, and I just want to know that it's real. So now I'm going to have to send it into PCGS. And the last time I did that on the 89cc, they graded it, which was great. So we'll see what happens. So this I'm going to have to get a genuine details grade on through PCGS. And go from there. So anyways, all right guys, thanks so much for watching. I've been the Coin Geek. You can subscribe by clicking on the owl button in the corner and watch more videos on the right side of the screen. Thanks.